Good morning, gentlemen. I'm going to talk to you today about South America. You see, we have been so much concentrating on Ukraine, the Gaza, and the Far East that people have forgotten कि एक प्रॉब्लम बहुत बड़ी चल रही है in South America, and that is in Venezuela. दोस्तों, मैं हूँ मदन सिंह और मैं आपके साथ बात करने वाला हूँ अबाउट साउथ अमेरिका। साउथ अमेरिका यहाँ से बहुत दूर लगता है एज फार एज इंडिया इज कंसर्न, बिकॉज देयर इज नो डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट ऑल्सो इंडिया से साउथ अमेरिका को। बट वी शुड नॉट फॉरगेट कि बहुत सारे इंडियंस जो हैं दे आर सेटल्ड इन साउथ अमेरिका एंड पर्टिकुलरली इन कंट्री कॉल्ड ब्रिटिश गियाना। दिस यूज्ड टू बी एन ओल्ड ब्रिटिश कॉलोनी और indentured labor from India had gone there. यहाँ से इंडिया से लेबर लेके गए थे and almost half the population of that place is of Indian origin. बहुत सारे वेस्ट इंडीज़ में, ट्रिनिडैड में भी, बारबाडोस में lot of Indians are there. So इंडिया का बहुत बड़ा कनेक्शन है as far as South America is concerned. और along with Guyana there is another country that is Venezuela. Now this is a very oil-rich country, but इनका जो leader है, his name is Madura, and he is a anti-American man. और ये अमेरिका cannot countenance कि how a country of South America can be against America. They are still talking to something called the Monroe Doctrine. Monroe जो थे, he was the president of the United States, और इन्होंने डॉक्ट्रिन बनाई थी कि that the southern hemisphere is an American sphere of influence and Europeans cannot go there, or for that matter nobody can. Of course ये जो डॉक्ट्रिन थी was got punctured when Fidel Castro took over as the leader of Cuba, and उसने Americans को वहाँ से भगा दिया and he ruled for half a century, and Cuba still remains a communist state. And though they have cut away a lot of trappings, but अभी भी ये जो regime कैस्ट्रो के टाइम से इंस्टॉल हुई थी, that is still continuing. So Venezuela also is a similar type of country, and America cannot agree कि एक ऐसी country है जो उसको oppose करे. But Venezuela के ऊपर उन्होंने बहुत से sanction लगा दिए हैं, and they have been looking for some pretext, rather I will say Donald Trump is looking for some pretext by which he can invade Venezuela and throw out Madura, maybe imprison him on some false charges, and make Venezuela again one of the vassals of the American state. पर आजकल ये सब करना बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट हो गया है। हालांकि अमेरिकन्स अगर चाहें तो विद इन 24 आवर्स मेरे ख्याल वेनेजुला को हरा सकते हैं, एंड दे हैव पोजीशन अ वेरी बिग टास्क फोर्स देयर, इंक्लूडिंग वन एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर भी वहाँ खड़ा करके रखा हुआ है, और इनके वॉरशिप्स जो हैं और एयरक्राफ्ट दे आर डूइंग indiscriminate bombing over the fishing boats. The idea is to provoke Madura to attack some of the American warships, and then America will have an excuse to start a war with Venezuela. ये वही गेम खेल रहे हैं विच इज़ नोन गनपोर्ट डिप्लोमेसी, जो अंग्रेज़ पहले करते थे when they were ruling the world. They would just send their warships there and then wait for somebody to attack them, and then they would unleash their firepower like they did in Zanzibar. You know, आपको Zanzibar की लड़ाई is very famous because it was over in 10 minutes when the British frigates fired and the Sultan ran away. Anyway, those days are not completely over. Hitler tried the same tactics in Poland. He made some Polish people dress up as, Germans dress up as Polish soldiers, and they are supposed to have attacked some German post, and Hitler said, look, the Poles have attacked us and I'm going to take revenge. So he ordered the invasion of Poland. Well, America is trying something similar. कुछ ऐसी ही बात करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बट अभी सिचुएशन ये है कि अमेरिका इज़ नो डाउट the single most powerful country in the world. But there are two other countries also which are maybe not of equal power, but they are having substantial power, and at least their destructive capability is maybe even more than the Americans. And one of them is Russia. Now, Russia has been an ally of Madura for many years. And though the Venezuelans have been facing sanctions from America, they can't sell their oil, they are selling to so many countries. And America cannot do much anything about it, so America is very unhappy. And Donald Trump, takes issues to the extreme. That is his problem. And he thinks that the greatness of America lies only when the other people are just kneeling in front of him, like the knights. You remember the court of King Arthur, all the knights, they kneeled before King Arthur. So he feels I'm like King Arthur, and even if there's a round table, I'm the man who's ahead of everybody, and everybody should be deferential to Donald Trump. So he is expecting the same sort of deferential respect from Madura, which he is not giving, and he is not listening to the Americans. He has now declared a state of emergency, and the Venezuelan forces are on alert, but they need some help, and the help has come in the name of the Russian Navy, which has now moved into the waters around Venezuela. Russian warships have come in there, and they are very sophisticated. Of course, they are not a match to the American fleet, but they can create a lot of problem. And we do not know what weapons they're carrying. Maybe they're carrying a nuclear weapon or no, we don't know. So Donald Trump has now got a Hobson's choice. He doesn't know what to do. Kya karna aage bhai? He's already bitten the bullet, and he's can't turn back. So he's having a Hobson's choice. ना तो पीछे हट सकते हैं ना आगे जा सकते हैं. If he goes back, so he'll be loss of face for America. And so he's trying all sorts of provocations while, bombing the fishing boats, killing few people here and there. And they had made even an attempt through the pilot of the President Maduro to hijack his plane, capture him, but that failed. The CIA can do anything. CIA, if you remember, was responsible for killing the president of Chile, Allende. They got him shot dead in his office. They were also responsible for killing Che Guevara in the jungle in Bolivia. The CIA is a very, very, I would say, efficient organization and a great executor, maybe better than the Gestapo. But every day is not Sunday, and this time the Americans are really at the hand. Now, Donald Trump can't withdraw from there after making all that hula-bula and sound. At the same time, he has to think twice before attacking, because world opinion is not going to countenance if the Americans just bomb Venezuela and try and occupy it. Occupying is not going to be easy because there's going to be hand-to-hand fighting. And we know that the Americans, when it comes to the crunch in hand-to-hand fighting, have failed always. Mainly, not because of bravery, not because of anything else, but their tactics are absolutely outdated. They lost in Vietnam for that reason. They lost in Afghanistan also. And if they try such a stunt in Venezuela, they're probably going to get a bad name again. Now, as far as Maduro is concerned, he's fighting hard, but he has got some backing, and the backing, as told you, has come from the Russians. And Russia can exercise leverage somewhere else. Russia has got tremendous nuclear power, and they've been displaying their latest missiles. They are winning the war in Ukraine, and probably Donald Trump may have tried to relieve the pressure in Ukraine by trying to create a pressure point in Venezuela. Now, I could understand the reason that he put a carrier task force there against a country which got hardly any power. But at the same time, they got a very charismatic leader, a man who believes in independence. And you can't say that everybody should say three bags full. So he doesn't want to do that, and I think that's what is galling the Americans. Well, gentlemen, I don't think now Donald Trump is going to attack once the Russian fleet has come in. And if the Russian warships have come, they are a deterrent, because it doesn't mean that the Russians will be able to stop the American invasion. But in case the Americans create some problem in Venezuela, the Russians could create a bigger problem in Europe. That is why Europe is on tenterhooks. They could invade Poland. They could invade any of the small Baltic states like Estonia, Lithuania, who are just pinpricks and resurrected by the Americans to fight Russia. That's about all. So it's not a one-man game. The only man, I think, if I look at the global picture, is Mr. Narendra Modi. Unfortunately, this man, for reasons of, I cannot name them here, and maybe in a separate video I'll state it, because this is not concerning Modi. But the fact remains that Modi is the only man who seems to be in backwaters for a lack of decisive leadership. And Madura is giving very decisive leadership to Venezuela. I don't know what's his level of support, but he must be having tremendous support there in Venezuela. But Venezuela there are a lot of double crossers also who may be ready to join hands with the Americans. Americans have been trying to destabilize Cuba for half a century. They have failed. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, gentlemen, whether Donald Trump is going to withdraw or he's going to bite the bullet and attack Venezuela. And as I've told you earlier, this attack, if the Americans do carry it out, will be another nail in the coffin of American hegemony over the world. So Donald Trump should be very careful what he does. I hope you liked this video, gentlemen. If you liked, please share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and come back for more. I'll say goodbye, God bless, and Jai Hind. Take care.